Hey moms, I'm Suzanne. This is A Joyful Roar. I'm doing an episode today on how to stay sane during quarantine. This content definitely applies to more than just moms, even though I do try to give them some special tips that involve children. Definitely every single person can get something out of this. I talked to 3 mental health professionals. All of them were licensed professional counselors. There was one I got some information from that it has a doctorate in psychology. I talked to moms about what they were struggling with, multiple moms. There is a lot of information to cover. This may be one of our longer episodes, and I'm so sorry about that. I'm gonna try to talk quickly, and I'm gonna try to get through the information quickly, but I just want y'all to know that this is important. It may be more important than you even realize, and I just want to make sure that you stay with me, okay? Don't leave me, and if you have to leave me, come back to me and get this information because it's really good. I've always really valued seeing a counselor. I have seen a counselor since I did foster care back when we lived in Arkansas, and it was so helpful to get through that experience when our babies left our home and things like that. And ever since, I have seen a counselor because I just feel like everything that I get out of that is important to my mental health. With that being said, I specifically asked these people if the whole world now needs to be in therapy because of the situation, and they said, absolutely not. The whole world does not need to be in therapy right now, but they do need this information. They need to know how to stay sane and how to stay positive and all of those things. So I'm gonna dive right in. We asked some of our moms what they were struggling with. The number one thing that came back was marriage topics, all kinds of different topics. So suddenly you are being forced to be with your spouse. You might have seen them for an hour in the morning and a few hours at night. Now all of a sudden you're seeing them 24 hours a day, and not only that, but they're the only person that you're allowed to see with your kids, of course. And so you're getting all of your social interactions, your social needs, your connections through this one person who you may or may not be used to seeing this much. Not only that, but there's this aspect of doom and gloom around us. A lot of negativity. People are suffering financially big time from this. I mean, the scale ranges from how different people are being affected, but a lot of people mentioned we're being affected financially, and it's becoming a struggle in my marriage, and a struggle like if it continues long term to feed my family. And that's hard for me to hear, and I know it's really hard for those families to experience. Some moms mentioned that they're suddenly combining their work life and their home life, and they're like, I don't know how to make this work. This is too much. So it was already hard enough when you left to do the work and came back, but now you're having to add it on top of your mom duties. And it's a lot to handle, or dad duties, by the way. I know a lot of dads are sharing this load. A lot of moms mention that there's no routine, that they just feel like it's chaos. They feel like, how are they supposed to be intimate at this time? It just feels so stressful that like they're not finding that time that they used to find to break away and be intimate with their spouse. That's hard. I mean, that's hard. People talked about having cabin fever. They're feeling trapped. People talked about having 0 alone time all of a sudden. Like maybe before they would put their baby down for a nap and their big kids would be at school, and now their big kids are home and they're just feeling like they don't get a break all day. And by the time that everyone's in bed, they feel just exhausted and sad and overwhelmed. And so all of these things need to be addressed. Here are some of the tips that I was given from these professionals. First of all, communicate. Number one, every one of them said that. Every one of them demanded that. Like, you might have been able to go through your life and like barely communicate with each other in the past and still function. You can't do that anymore. Like, you have to talk to your spouse about your needs. The other thing they mentioned is taking turns taking alone time. If you have kids and you want alone time, you need to ask the other person to watch the kids while you go have that alone time, and then give that same courtesy to your spouse. Also, I don't know if this is a thing for y'all. I spoke to these counselors about it, and it's definitely a thing for me. I kind of come up with things in my mind that sometimes aren't true. We lie to ourselves about things. If your spouse needs alone time, it does not mean that they don't love you or that they're sick of you or any of those things, okay? So don't let your mind go to those dark places. Give your spouse a lot of grace. Give yourself a lot of grace too, because you need it during this time. We're all just trying to get through. Be vulnerable with each other. Have a special time to talk about those bad things, about the financial stuff, about not having intimacy. Like, set aside some time and say, we need to talk about these things. And then once you've had that conversation, put it aside, okay? And go back to talking about positive things. If you're gonna have a conversation and give a whole hour to the negativity, then you need to set aside some time and talk about the positive things that are happening and verbalize those positive things. This is gonna sound weird. I talked to one mom specifically and I said the word date night and she goes, I don't know what that means. Can you use it in a sentence? And I was like, okay, I get it. Like, this is not, how do you have a date night? So the counselor said, what you do is you don't do your usual. So if you're used to every single night, you get a snack and sit down on the couch apart from your spouse and watch a show together, that is not a date night. You need to do something together that either relaxes you or lets you have fun or allows conversation, something in a separate room. So if you always go to your bedroom to watch TV, do not go to your bedroom for date night. Go to the kitchen or go outside. Go to a different room in the house and do something together. One thing that all three people stressed is putting your phone down. It's harder than it sounds to put your phone down. We have all become very attached to our phones, and you have to be intentional about setting it down, or you won't do it. You'll say, oh, we need to put our phones down, and then you will not do it. I know there have been nights, I'm confessing right now, there have been nights when we sit down to have a conversation and we talk for a minute, and then all of a sudden, 30 minutes later, I realize we've both been looking at our phones. We have got to all, like, set our phones down and say, this is gonna be our time, we're gonna be intentional about it, and even if all we do is stare at each other, we're not gonna look at our phones, and we are not going to watch television, and we're not gonna do the usual, we're gonna do something new. Okay, while I'm talking about phones and computers and things like technology, another thing that all of these counselors, all of these mental health professionals stressed is you have got to limit the amount of time you spend looking, reading, watching videos, watching news about this virus, okay? A lot of it is inaccurate. Some of it is over-dramatized, and some of it is untrue. You need to look at places like the CDC website, reputable places. Go once a day. This is what they said. Go once a day to get the information you need to stay informed, and then stop looking at it. It does not need to consume your day. You do not need to be looking 3, 4, 5 times a day to see how many people have passed from this virus. It is affecting everyone. Even if you want to look once in the morning, once in the evening, that is better than just going all the time to see what the latest news is saying about this virus. A lot of it is speculation, and that's not what we need in our minds right now. We do not need to hear every single person's opinion about what's happening out there. We need to know the facts, and we need to stick to the facts and stay sane. Okay. The next thing that came up with our moms was talking to your kids about this. Like, people didn't know what should we say to our kids? How much should they know? So one of the counselors said, if they are old enough to ask you about it, then they are old enough to handle a response from you. And you have to gauge what is age appropriate, but they said stick to the facts. Do not add a bunch of fluff. And then when you're ending the conversation, you end with the positives. You say, but because of this, we're getting to spend extra time together, and it's good quality time, and this is what I have learned about you during this time. End the conversation with something positive. Something Mr. Rogers always said, and y'all know I love Mr. Rogers. He always said, look for the people who are helping in a crisis. Those people can bring joy and positivity to hard situations. That's not a direct quote, but that is what he said, basically. Another positivity that you can mention to them is that by doing all these things, we're keeping ourselves and others safe. And that is something simple that kids can understand. Okay, I want to go back to routine for just a second. We mentioned it in the marriage stuff, but like, y'all, routine is so important. Like, the first week that we were doing this, I had zero routine. I feel like I was just surviving with the kids. We had just found out we were going to be doing online learning. It was stressful, and I was going to the news and all kinds of things on my phone, social media, nonstop. I wanted to hear every single person's opinion on this. I wanted to know what I should be doing, and most of it made me feel scared. This is a very scary situation, and it is very serious, but we have to learn to live our lives while this is happening, encouraging, praying for other people, staying at home. These are all things that are very important, but our mind is also important, and we have to stay sane. So come up with a routine. Do not dress for the life you have. Dress for the social life that you want. That is what one of the psychologists said. Wake up every day, take a shower, fix your hair. Even if you are a mom, find time to do this. Whatever it takes, prioritize yourself and your basic needs. Another thing they mentioned was moving your body, getting outside, breathing fresh air, moving your body in any way that you can. One thing that I was not thinking about, and this is selfish of me to not think about it, or short-sighted, not everybody has a yard. Not everybody has this driveway that I have with pavement on it where my kids can ride their bike. Some of our moms are in cities and they have a balcony and they can't, that's it, they can't go anywhere else. So use YouTube, use the things that you have available to you. If you want something for your kids, try Go Noodle or Cosmic Kids Yoga, some of those places. There are so many resources for workout videos and ways to move your body as an adult. They said if you are stuck in a room and you can't go outside, open the windows, turn on the fan, get the fresh air going in that room. Like, you have got to have fresh air. If you do have a yard and stuff like that, get out there, rain or shine. Like, you can give the kids a bath after they step in the mud. Like, don't let that type of thing keep you from getting the mental break that you need and getting out of this house where you're all cramped together. Which, speaking of that, being cramped in one space, find a space for you to have some self-care alone time. Like, if your kids need a moment by themselves and you're just feeling like they're on top of you, let them build a fort. Call that their space. Say, this is your space, and if you need that alone time, you go in that space. And find a space like that for you. When it comes to self-care, I feel like most of us, we think of things like getting our nails done and things that involve leaving the house, and that's just not true. Wrap up in a blanket, look at old family vacation photos. What matters is that you take a mental break for yourself. You do something that is for you, and we're not talking just your basic needs like taking a shower. Yes, that is self-care, but like when we're in these dire times where we're all stuck in the house together, we need something more than just a shower, okay? So find something that is specific to you, that you can do, that makes you feel good, and you may have to think outside of your box at this point, and do that. Find that thing and do that thing. We might need help from other moms listing what they are doing to get a small break. Y'all, I'm trying to go so fast. Okay, another thing is reach out to your friends. Check on your friends, not just for them, but for you also. Like, spend 30 minutes a day texting, FaceTiming. FaceTiming is better. All of these people, all of these professionals have said that. Like doing something where you can video chat, Zoom, Marco Polo, anything like that. Interact with people. Keep those relationships going. That connection is important, more important than you even realize. Another thing is, don't compare yourself to other people, okay? Like, don't look down the street and think, why is that person like totally handling this fine and I'm a basket case over here? You know, I actually have a quote I want to read to y'all about that. This is by Jordan B. Peterson, and he made this quote about comparison during this time. and I thought it was so good I wanted to read it to y'all. It's not useful to compare yourself to other people. It is useful to compare yourself to yourself. You're unique and particular, and your life has multiple dimensions. If you want to improve yourself, hypothesize about where you would like to be and what you would like your life to look like if it was better. And start there with small steps. So I think one of the things at this point is we're thinking ahead to the future, and it just feels impossible. Like we'll never get back to normal is how it feels. But we have to just take small steps every day to create a new normal, so that we can keep ourselves sane and feel good during this time. Okay, lastly, you have got to lower your expectations of others and yourself. You've got to give yourself some grace. You've got to realize that this is just beyond anyone's realm of thinking that this has happened. And from what they are saying, it is going to get worse. And that is not the kind of mentality that we can live with over the next month or 2 months or however long we are going to be stuck inside of our homes. So I know y'all are stressed. I know our moms are like, how in the world are we supposed to do this? And a lot of people were able to handle it when it was only going to be a couple weeks. And now that we've added on this extra time, it just makes you feel exhausted just thinking about it. But we care about y'all, and we want y'all to stay positive, stay safe. We want all that for y'all. I feel like A Joyful Roar has just kept me going right now. It gives me something to wake up and look forward to, because I enjoy making this content for y'all. I woke up this morning and I put on makeup and I tried to fix my hair. I was like, I cannot talk to them about this if I'm not even going to do it myself. So I did that. And it helped me. And I hope that this content helps you. I hope that you pass it along to every person you can think of, because it's good. And I'm so thankful for all the people who helped me create this video with all these helpful tips. Please let me know what you needed to hear and what you think others need to hear, or if there's something I did not mention. Oh my goodness, please put that in the comments. Make sure people know those things, because we're all in this together. All right. Bye, y'all.